The Army Painter is my favorite hobby company in the entire world. My desk is literally full of Army Painter products, and it takes me from being an average painter to putting above tabletop standard models out into the tournament scene. Not only that, but the Army Painter has sponsored more competitive play than any other hobby company in the industry. They allow us to keep doing the things that we do. If you enjoy the Army Painter as much as I do, head over to thearmypainter.com where you can use the discount code ARTOWAR5 to get a discount on your next order. Welcome in, everybody. This is a Art of War stream about the Necron Detachment.
Yeah, you can tell Siegs is hyped.
I'm ready to shatter some stars. So this is the Starshatter Arsenal. It is massively hype, and we're going to go through all the rules in this video. But before we do, if you are joining us, please do give us a like, subscribe to the channel, and tell your friends about us. All of that massively helps us grow. In addition, leave a comment below letting us know how you're feeling about the Necron detachment and overall about the different Grotmas detachments. And if you want to see a Necron list video talking about my different list ideas for this detachment, you can check out the War Room at thewarroom.vhx.tv. There is not only a 3-day free trial, but even better than that is 50% off your first month, which will basically take you through the entirety of Grotmas and all the detachments. So if you want to see list videos for all the other detachments, as well as games involving these detachments, including Necrons next week, guess what? Sign up to that War Room and join our awesome community. All right, Mr. Jack, you ready to dive into this bad boy?
Yeah, I've always been wondering what would happen if we had a lore-accurate War in Heaven detachment. I always wanted to know.
I've always wanted to declare war in heaven. I want to destroy the Eldari. I have a long Necrons have a long history of being an absolute nightmare for Eldari in 10th edition.
Yeah.
It's not going to stop now.
No, it certainly isn't.
All right, so we got the detachment rule here. Relentless onslaught, and it's pretty relentless, I'm going to be honest with you. So each time a Necrons model, this is not restricted to anything besides excludes Titanic units in the second half. So each time a Necron's model from your army targets something that's within range of an objective marker, you get +1 to hit. This works on Catan. It works on all the different things that you know and love. It's just fantastic. Now, there's a bunch of stuff that hits on 2s. Oh, you had a -to hit and you're on objective? Doesn't matter. Irrelevant, even without ignore mods.
Yep, especially since Doomsday Arcs are heavy. You know, it's good.
It's
good. They're buffing the little scene units that are sitting on your shelf gathering dust, like the Silent King, Catan, Doomsday Arcs, and Destroyers. You know, we haven't seen those in ages, and those are just sitting on the shelf gathering dust. So blow the dust off them, get them on the table. It's good to see them.
In addition, Jack, ranged weapons equipped by Necron's vehicle and mounted units, which is a wide swath of units, excluding Titanic, from your army have Assault. And this is one of the big things Necrons had been missing. You could get it in Awakened Dynasty on one thing with a strat. Now you advance in shooting guns. Previously, with Hypercrypt, you just teleport your guns, but you can only teleport a certain amount of them. Having advance and shoot is absolutely fantastic, and as we'll get to in the detachment, there's some ways to manipulate that to make yourself even faster. This is a fantastic detachment rule.
It's very good.
Basically impacts almost every single important unit. Besides, something like a Monolith doesn't benefit as much because it can't advance and shoot. But guess what? It really needed 3.1 away to move around the table anyway.
And the reaction to this detachment has been substantial on the internet. So I want to take some time at the end of it to go over the ways I think that you can go about beating this army, because I do think there is a very clear template and game plan you can impose to try and beat this army. And I think it's pretty effective.
In addition to that, thank you so much for all the super chats. We will get to those at the end as well and answer all your questions. So if you do super chat, we haven't forgotten you. We will come back to all of them at the end. All right, the enhancements are utterly fantastic, and I know this one is your favorite here. This is one of the detachments where all 4 are worth taking and good.
Yes.
But Jack, you can read the first one. I know you love this one.
Okay. Overlord or Catacomb Command Barge model only. 30 points, while a Necron's unit of any kind, monster, infantry, vehicle, who cares,
just
combat, shooting, who cares, not Titanic, is within 6 inches of the bearer. Every time they make an attack, reroll hits and wounds of 1. That Nightbringer, yeah, he's rerolling hits and wounds of 1. You know, that Doomsday Arc, yeah, he's rerolling hits and wounds of 1. That is a bananas.
Especially when combined with +1 to hit.
Yeah. No, Doomsday Arcs just become take D6 +1 AP 4 damage 4 saves. Why roll the hit and wound, Siegs? You're hitting on 2s rerolling. You're generally wounding on 2s rerolling. And you might have dev wounds. So, like,
I'm just not stopping.
Why hit wound? Just roll the dice. Tell me how many saves I'm taking. Easy, right? You roll the d6 plus 1. You roll a 5. You're like, okay, take 6 saves. Skip the step. Making my life easier.
So this is fantastic for a number of reasons. Not only just the buff works on pretty much every relevant unit, but in addition to that, it means that you can have 2 different reroll 1s to hit 1s to wound auras. If you have the Silent King on one flank, Command Barge, or the Overlord on the other flank, you can split your fire, control 2 different firing lanes. Awesome. In addition, it means you could actually drop the Silent King if you wanted to and just say, hey, I'm going to save all those points, have more damage elsewhere, and more units, and just have this guy replace his aura. Now, you don't get ignore mods in that case, but usually reroll 1 to hit 1 to wound is better.
Yeah, Richard and I actually both independently came to the conclusion that we think you use this to replace the Silent King, not in addition to the Silent King. If you have it with the Silent King, you can have the reroll 1s to hit and wound aura in 2 places on the board, which is very good. It means your whole army is under it instead of just half. And
it's disgusting.
You can combine it to ignore modifiers and then have reroll 1s hit and wound, which is very good. But the Silent King's also 420 points, and this army is going to struggle to have units to do things if you take him and the obligatory 3 DDAs and whatnot. So we've actually both independently come to the conclusion that you probably drop the Silent King. The army's strong enough on its own, and you just have scoring now, which is going to be
you can
really
run a
good.
lot of stuff in this bad boy, all of it benefiting plus 1 to hit. So in certain metas where the ignore mods is crucial, but I still think he's 100% viable in the detachment and strong.
How expensive is a CCB?
CCB is 120, so he's 150 with the enhancement.
And how many points is the Silent King?
420.
Yeah, I already knew the answer to that. He blazes it for sure.
He
so
does.
you save a ton of points by just taking this dude.
Yeah, Silent King has great synergies here, which we'll get to, but I think that it's definitely possible because of this to save the points and have more stuff. Miniaturized Nebula Scope. This is a 15-point enhancement. It goes on a Necron's model. Range weapons, ignore cover. This is fantastic on the Locust Lord.
Yeah, it's weird. It doesn't say only Locust Lord, but yet that is the only thing it will go on.
Very likely. So if you put it on the Locust Lord inside the Enmitic Heavy Destroyer unit, that is just an amazing unit. And you could also put it on Locust Lord inside 6 Locust Destroyers. One of their big weaknesses is AP2 without access to ignores cover. Not particularly amazing, but now AP2 ignores cover. We're talking now. This is a really, really good enhancement, in my opinion. Next up.
Demanding Leader. 10 points. Necron's model only. You pick a unit within 6. I will cover the differences between other effects like this in a second. You pick a vehicle or mounted unit within 6 of the bear, and that unit can shoot and turn it, which it fell back. This seems fairly normal, right? This is like a very normal way to word this. Oh, wait, no, hold on. It's in the movement phase?
Yeah.
That probably doesn't make any difference. That probably doesn't mean that you don't have to pre-plan it. It probably doesn't mean you don't fall back the DDA, move the character to within range of the DDA. Now the DDA can shoot after it fell back.
It's the best version, and it's also 10 points.
Oh, dude.
It's
if
demanding
they just said
you.
in the command phase, that's a whole different ballgame.
Well, they did say command phase. It's just until the start of your next command phase.
Right, sorry.
So then it goes off, but then you get your movement phase again.
Yeah, so you can have this guy vaguely in the center of your army. Anybody who wants to fall back just falls back. Then your little Galactopus with this enhancement sprints up and gets within 6 and goes, you can now shoot. And then it just blasts you.
And then finally, we have the Chrono Impedance Fields, 25 points, so a bit pricier. It goes on a Necron's model. In your command phase, you select one friendly Necron vehicle or mounted unit, excluding the Titanic, within 6 of the bear until the start of your next command phase. They are -1 damage. Talk about a fantastic enhancement if you want to buff the Silent King, because you basically get the best rule in Obeisance Phalanx, which is a stratagem, and you just get it for 25 points plus the character holding it here.
Yep. Hey, have you ever wanted
There's no reason to run
damage
Obeisance
Silent King?
Phalanx. It's right here.
Yep. Yeah, you're not running Obeisance.
You're running this.
This is wildly better than Obeisance already.
Yes. So all 4 enhancements are fantastic, which creates the really awkward problem of I can't run all 4, so I have to cut one of them, and that's a hard choice.
That's that must suck for you.
It's very difficult for me. I hope you feel.
Rough, bro.
I hope you feel for me.
I don't. Merciless Reclamation. 1 CP in your shooting or fight phase. A Necron's unit that has not been selected to shoot or fight. Until the end of the phase, every time a model unit makes an attack, if the target of that attack is within range of 1 or more objective markers, +1 to wound. That's gross. I don't have anything else to say about it. It's you already have a bunch of damage amping abilities, So why not one more?
So I think this one, if you run the DDA, Silent King, like the high strength weapons, you're probably not really using this too often. However, if you're running the Enmitic unit, you're 100% using this pretty damn often.
Porque no los dos.
You love it, Jack. It's also ignoring cover.
I do not love it. So, like, I want to know. Hold on. Does that Enmitic unit with this ability and ignores cover, does it kill a Leman Russ in shooting?
I don't know them. So you have crit 5s. You'll have reroll 1s to hit. Possibly +1 to hit if it's on an objective. So you'd hit on 2s, rerolling 1s, crit 5s for sustained. And if you're in half range, you're pumping out a lot of shots. You're wounding on 4s, then you're rerolling 1s to wound because of the enhancement. And then they're taking 3-up saves. I do not know the math on it, but it's probably... You'll do a lot of damage to it.
So you're wounding on 4s, rerolling 1s, right?
Yes.
Okay. Yes is the answer. Yes, it does. It does 12.75 wounds to a Leman Russ battle tank on average, and then the character has some shots, and they just need to get one through. Also, by the way, so on average, it just goes bink and full to deads a Leman Russ. It basically cleanly does one Leman Russ in terms of damage. That is bananas. There is nothing relevant tougher.
Let alone if it's shooting at infantry units.
Yeah, if it shoots at infantry, you're just gone, right? It just wounds you on 2s re-rolling. What are you going to... You're just dead.
Unyielding Forms. So this one is 1 CP, is used in your opponent's shooting phase or the fight phase, and you pick a Necron's vehicle or mounted unit, including Titanic. That's going to be the same for all these. You're not allowed to use it on the Monolith or the Tesseract Vault. From your army, and then until the end of the phase, each time an attack targets the model in your unit, if the strength is greater than your toughness, -1 to wound. So it means that all those higher strength weapons, T9 is not amazing on the Doomsday Arcs, but all of a sudden with a -1 to wound thrown in there, you can really keep them alive. Silent King, if they're pumping all their like strength 12 plus damage, weapons in there, you're just like, all right, -1 to wound, let's make this even less efficient. It's a solid strat.
It's really good in Necron specifically because all you need to do is keep a unit alive, and especially with reactive reposition, which we'll get to in a second, you just need to keep the unit alive. As long as they don't kill it, you can...
Reanimator,
you can reanimation, you can maybe reactive move back to a reanimator, out of line of sight, reanimate, maybe reanimation, resorb, and then all of a sudden you're like, yeah, you didn't do anything because you didn't finish them off. So just keeping them alive is all that's required, right? Like your opponent, gears up 2 Leman Russ battle tanks to shoot a DDA, and you're like, well, if I can live on 1, then suddenly, I can go back up to 5 and then back up to 9 with a different strat. And that's all I need, right? I just need to live. I don't need to live at high. I just need to live. And that's what this is really good at.
All right, tell us about Chrono Shift.
Chrono Shift. In your movement phase, 1 CP, a vehicle or mounted unit, other than Titanic, that has not been selected to move, you flat 6 advance.
Strong.
Yeah, so this is actually not going to get used as much as it looks like. What is actually going to happen is your opponent just has to treat all of your units like they can move an extra 6 inches. And if they don't do that, then you use it. But what's going to happen is your opponent's going to have to play around this every turn of the game. And that is going to get annoying. And you won't even have to spend CP for it. Your opponent just has to treat your DDAs like they move 15. All of them, because any of them can. And that's gross.
It combos very nicely with Dimensional Tunnel, which is a 1 CP strat also used in your movement phase, and you pick a Necron vehicle or mounted unit, not Titanic. Until the end of the phase, models in your unit can move horizontally through models and terrain features. This is a really, really nice tool for making sure that you can get to the spots that you need to when your opponent is committing their units. So one of the problems with splitting fire is sometimes it can be hard to shoot back at the proper angles that you need to. Well, between flat 6 advance and also going through walls, you're going to get there. It's going to be fine. It's good. It's strong. Silent King also going through walls is fantastic.
At least it's not Catan, man.
It's not Catan.
At least it's not Catan.
I love that. Oh. Especially the Nightbringer who hides.
Please stop. Desist.
All right, tell us about Endless Servitude.
So, end of your fight phase, one Necron unit from your army within range of one or more objective markers just to activate your reanimation protocols. If this is for D3, it's probably not worth it. But if you're next to a reanimator, it's definitely worth it. Mm-hmm. 1 CP, heal 2D3 wounds, and possibly res models. Pretty good. It's pretty good.
Pretty darn good.
And you can combine that with reactive reposition to, on your opponent's turn, well, let's cover reactive reposition. 1 CP after your opponent has shot at you, 1 Necron's unit, not vehicle or mounted, unit. Catan are Necron's units, by the way, just in case you were wondering. Okay, your unit can make a normal move of up to D6 or up to 6 inches instead if it's a mounted or vehicle unit.
So Silent King can get flat 6, all the heavy locust, the regular locust, big bricks, the Doomsday Arcs, all that stuff easily hides. But then you have the fact is oftentimes you have to really threat overload a Catan to try and kill it. And with the ability to D6 reactive it out of potential range, out of line of sight of some amount of that shooting, out of charge distance, it is a bear to deal with. This is an amazing strat on just pretty much anything.
It'd be amazing strat in basically any army. Yeah, so Catan, you have to shoot them a couple times and then charge them and probably throw a grenade and some other stuff to bring them down. They're ungodly tough. They're the toughest things in the game at the moment. And if in the middle of that, they move D6 and you roll like a 5, suddenly your plan to converge fire into them falls apart. They move out of line of sight of one thing. They move out of charge range of a second thing. All of a sudden, you leave them at 4. Then in their turn, they heal up to 6. And then they walk forward, they kill something, they heal up to, you move the reanimator in range, they heal up to 10, and now suddenly you can't deal with them anymore because you just got shot by 3 DDAs again. And oops, sorry, that sucks.
This strat is the money
go
maker.
Next.
If anything deserved to be 2 CP, it is this. Kind of surprised that it is not. This is ludicrously strong. This is the absolute moneymaker here. The other stuff is all amazing.
All good.
This thing is the spam button.
There is no rule in this detachment that isn't great.
It's all good. You will use it at all different points.
It's all strong. Real strong.
This is the perfect detachment.
Oh, God.
There's no miss.
I came in being like, yes, we have a plan for how to beat this army. It is actually an effective plan, and we can make it work. And by the end of this, I'm just like, oh, I'm so mad. I'm so mad. I'm so mad. I'm so mad. Oh, God, I'm so mad.
That's the way it is. This is a really, really darn good suite of rules. This basically replaces all the Necron detachments, in my opinion. I think this is better than Hypercrypt. There's probably a reason to still run Hypercrypt, which is that you switch from a guns-heavy approach to a very heavy scoring style, kind of like how MSU Eldar used to be. And that's still a very different strategy to what this is trying to do. But for a damage strategy, this just feels like the best one.
Yeah, and I have seen quite a lot of hyperbole. We are not back to release Eldar. This is not better than Soulburst Ynnari. I've seen people comparing this to 8th edition Iron Hands. It is not in the same ballpark as that. It is not in the same ballpark as 9th edition Tyranids or 9th edition Harlequins or anything like that. It just isn't. It plays 40k really well. Those armies did not play 40k. They played like 50k or whatever the hell. I don't even know. If you've played through that period, you know that those armies were like head and shoulders above anything else that the game has seen. And this is just really good at doing 40k. Those were doing something different. This would get annihilated by 10th edition Eldar. It wouldn't even be close. And same thing with, 9th edition Tyranids and Harlequins and 8th edition Iron Hands, and Soulburst Ynnari was bananas.
Imagine reactive reposition anytime.
It is not as good as those armies. It is very good. I don't think it's the same level as the worst defenders in 40k the last 5 years. It's just not. I've played all those armies. This is not as good as those. It is incredible though. It is. It is incredible. It is not 10th edition Eldar. I promise. Release Eldar. No. Dude, I watched Fateweaver get auto killed without any dice being rolled from an Overwatch, full to dead.
It's a different beast.
It's a different beast, man. It's not the same.
So in terms of what are the weaknesses here of this Necron detachment, first of all, the detachment is mostly about keeping their firepower alive and making sure their firepower is as efficient as possible. That's what the two things that this does really, really well. It doesn't attack primary very well. And so on open boards, on a layout 3, a layout 5, your player plays terrain that has tons of firing lanes. Yeah, this is going to be nightmarish to play against because its damage is delivered straight to your doorstep, especially the objectives.
Yes.
On boards where the objectives are protected and they have to dig you out, this detachment is not that amazing at doing so.
No.
And to be good at doing so with Necrons, you have to run a different style. Now, I think Necrons have some tools that could be good at doing that. It limits the firepower, which makes the list less impactful on the open boards.
Yeah.
So you either just run full hog onto the damage output and you just say, if I play on a tough board, I lose games, or you try and run a more balanced attachment. That's probably what will eventually happen, is we'll see more balanced versions than I just run all the damage vehicles and heavy locusts and I shoot you.
Yeah.
Because that will not take away primary if they cannot see you.
Yeah, I think that the first way that people will build this will be Silent King 3 DDAs and probably more vehicles, right? The Catacomb Command Bars with Dread Majesty, and that's like 1,200 points. And if you commit to the bit and continue to double and triple down on that, you're going to not be able to take primary away. Doomsday Arcs are really, really good. They're too good. This army, by the way, is too good. It just is. There is a difference between on-release 10th edition Eldar and too good. This is in the too good.
The detachment renders every other Necron detachment irrelevant.
It does.
That's problematic right there.
Yep.
Regardless of the external balance, that right there is problematic.
DDAs are really, really good. But a thing they are not good at is pushing forward. The Silent King is very, very good, but he is not going to push into an enemy army by himself. Good armies will drag him down, even with -1 damage and -1 to wound and all that. Right? You just can, right? You multi-charge him. He's not that effective as threat on the interrupt. You throw a grenade, you shoot him a little bit, and you just charge him from point-blank range if he tries to run right down your throat. So he can't push by himself. The DDAs are bad at pushing because if they get close, they actually can get killed in combat fairly well because combat can force a lot of damage 2 saves as opposed to shooting anti-tank, which tends to be here, take 4/4 up invulns, find out what happens. And DDAs are blast, and they can't shoot into combat, and they don't have a way to fall back and shoot outside of one enhancement. The people might not even take...
For one unit.
They might not even take the enhancement, first off, because Necron characters, like the solo ones that run around by themselves that you can put the enhancement on, they kind of suck, right? They're not that good. And so if people are getting greedy and taking a bunch of vehicles, they straight up might cut that dude. I know your first iteration list didn't have him in it.
Yeah, I was like, I cannot afford a fifth character that just stands around.
Exactly.
I want more stuff.
And also that means he's killable, right? Necron solo characters are pretty easy to just run up and deliver the justice to. And he could also be out of range. He could be in the wrong section of the board. So if Doomsday Arcs push forward, they're terrible. They're just not good. They want to sit there, have you walk into their lines of sight and obliterate you. Yeah. And if you do walk into this army's line of sight, you are a shadow on the wall.
You have been shattered.
Your star is done. Don't do that. Again, army too good. It is too good. It need to be less good, please. But this is very bad at scoring primary and denying primary. And ultimately, killing your opponent does not matter if you don't win the points war. And this army is incredibly easy to win the points war against unless they tone down their shooting, unless they take other stuff. It's the reason why we don't think you take the Silent King in the optimal version. Because if you take the Silent King and the Doomsday Arcs and the Catacomb Command Barge, it is dead easy for your opponent to take your objectives away and near impossible for you to go and take their objective away. Now, sure, on a wide open board, you blast them into the Stone Age, you have an early lunch, you chat with your friends about how gross you are as a human being, and you move on. But on a more normal board, I don't think that works. We'll have to see what version of the list people end up on. I suspect it's going to be like triple Doomsday Arc, triple Heavy Destroyer, and scoring after that is my that's probably where I would go with to start, because you can't afford to have the Silent King, I don't think. And I think you're just going to lose games to, oh, my opponent ran like some AdMech Vanguard onto my objective 3 times and I got denied 15 points. And what is a Doomsday Arc going to do to run up to an objective and take it from behind a wall? No, you're just not going to do that. And so their primary is locked the hell in. Like it is, if you don't have a plan to take your opponent's primary away, it's locked in. There's nothing you can do about that. The army, so this shoots way harder than Hypercrypt, but what Hypercrypt can do is just pick its stuff up and put it behind your opponent.
Yep.
And then blast their objectives away. And this can't do that. And what that means is they have to walk up to the objective. And if the objective's wide in the open and your opponent doesn't have a lone op, then all right, fair play. But if it is behind a wall, you kind of can't take it away, which means their primary's locked in, yours isn't. That's not a good place to be, even if you have the firepower edge.
Yeah.
So
all we're saying is that if you load up on the pure firepower, I just obliterate my opponent, and you play on a board where that doesn't work, you have no plan B. It is literally just throwing your vehicles out there and saying, my opponent has to commit something. And they'll just move block you, they'll tie stuff up, and they'll just slow you down. So it does have weaknesses. Like, I feel very confident that my Skitarii Hunter cohort list will just beat this unnerved 100% of the time.
I feel pretty confident my world leaders will do it too.
So
you stand behind walls.
I think you have to tech as this Necron player for actually playing the mission, which means the list will be less heinous than it otherwise would be. Now, if it's playing on layout 3 and 5,
you're just dead.
Games Workshop, Dawn of War.
Yeah, this is the best first defend on table 5 in team events that's existed.
Yeah, it's just heinous.
Yeah, it's gross. But yeah, no, I feel pretty confident my world leaders can stage behind walls, throw stuff onto objectives, sticky them when they die, tie you up, prevent you from doing anything. If you enter range, you're just going to get hit with a billion units. I feel pretty confident you can beat it with the AdMech. I can beat it with the world leaders on reasonable boards. On unreasonable boards,
then nobody's beating it.
What are we even asking here?
That's where the Starshatter plays the Starshatter, and we find out.
Yeah. Now, do not get me wrong. Do not get us wrong. This detachment is too good. It needs to get worse. Straight up. It just needs to. And so don't confuse us looking for ways to beat it with saying it's fine. It is not fine.
I think the very easy changes to make here are this reroll ones to hit, ones to wound only works on mounted and vehicles, and it's pick a unit.
Yeah.
Pick one. That's it. And then for reactive reposition, that goes to 2 CP. And you let the detachment play for, and then you change the first part of this to also being mounted in vehicles. And you let that play out. I really think that will still be a strong detachment, but it won't be world beating. I think you start there.
Yeah.
That's what I would make like immediately right now. And then we see what the data is.
Yep.
But that's my opinion. Let's go ahead and look at these super chats.
I would love to.
All right. So let's make sure we don't skip any. We had a bunch of people join at the War Room. Thank you so much to Ryan Choplick joining at the bronze tier, as well as Matt Halgarth. Thanks so much, guys. Welcome in. Then we had a Chaos Lord Quackers with a gold tier sub. Thank you so much. Welcome in, Lord Quackers. I
fear his might.
I hope you'll be quacking in the Discord community soon. We got Nurgle Matt entered in at the bronze.
What? Nurgle Matt?
Nurgle Matt is a permanent sub. He's just a legend. I see he's doing his mod stuff in here. Thanks so much, Nurgle Matt. Nerd Gains 357, the $5 super chat. Good morning, AOW. Not Necron related, but are you guys going to LVO next year? That is a great question. I will not be going. However,
I am. I will be going. And I believe Nick is currently planning to go. I can't speak for him because he's not here, but I believe he's been making plans to go.
He has intimated that he is interested in going.
Dude, I kind of just want to play a singles event. It's been a while, since other than WCW that I played a non-teams event.
Crucible.
I kind of just want to do it. Yeah, Crucible was in our backyard, though. Yeah. It's like free to go.
A distant one.
It literally was 20-minute drive.
But yeah, LVO should be a ton of fun. And it's going to be wild because all this is just going to be out in the wild.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
So that should be really exciting. The meta is going to be completely topsy-turvy. Who knows what's going to happen. Then we have a Red Drum with a €5 super chat. Thank you so much. I feel it in the Force. This one will be the first for Know Thy Enemy. Very likely. Very likely. Yeah. Know Thy Enemy is a War Room series designed to teach you how to play against particular armies.
And if you want to try out the War Room at 50% off your first month, you use the code in the description down below, Grotmas 2024, all caps, and you go to the War Room at .vhx.tv. That's kind of a mouthful, but it's also down there in the description. Yep. And you can listen to all of our thoughts on these new detachments, how to beat them,
and list
how to
ideas.
play with them.
Absolutely.
Etc.
We have Mr. Gabriel Roth with a $2 super chat. Stop making Krons busted or draw 24 Games Workshop, 24 Joker cards.
Dude, when I read this detachment, I was so mad. I was like, why? Why vehicles and mounted? Why is that what gets the buff? The stuff that people are already playing.
I was hoping for like a cool Ghost Arg Warrior detachment.
Dude, that would be so cool.
Immortals go in the Ghost Arg.
Silver Tide.
Lich Guard can go in there. Like some janky, cool, weird Necron mission army. Nope. We got the damage army, baby.
We got an army designed around making Necron vehicles and mounted shoot harder and harder to kill. That is what people were already doing just worse.
Yes, this is better than what they were doing. That's what Jack's saying.
Yes.
Jeanette Peterson, 40K Home and Garden. Thanks so much for your $5 super chat. The Associated Press is reporting that Jack really enjoys this detachment. Can we quote you as saying that this detachment is both fun and fluffy? 100%.
It is fluffy in that this is what would happen if the Necrons grabbed their weapons from the War in Heaven and shot you with them. And it's fun in that on the table, one of the players is having a lot of fun.
A ton of fun. Ton of fun. Promise you.
In 90% of the time, it'll be the Necron player. And 10% of the time, it will be 50% of the time will be the Necron player. 40% of the time will be both players or whatever. But 90% of the time, it's the Necron player. 10% of the time, it's his opponent who has just the biggest grin on their face because they're like, my little admech dudes can't be shot outside 18, and they also lower your OC, and I have 70 more of them. Have fun with this. Blah, 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 blah.
Or when all three DDAs roll 1 on the number of shots.
Dude, we didn't talk about that. Doomsday Arcs are so swingy. Because if you roll a 6 on number of shots, you punch a hole through the moon. But if you roll 1 on number of shots, you're like, all right, better luck next time, Chief. Go next.
Yeah.
The amount of times you've rolled a 2 into a 1 on the reroll
almost all the time
is significant. The amount of times you just roll flat 5 and 6 is also significant.
I wouldn't do that to you. We got Jesse Malone here joining at the War Room Bronze. Thank you so much, Jesse. Welcome into our community. Make sure you sync your YouTube account to your Discord and gain access to our community.
We got Gavin Robocon gifting 5 Art of War 40K memberships. Thank you, Gavin. Gavin is a loyal Awakened Dynasty player, but probably, maybe, who knows, maybe not for long.
It actually, you scratch off the Awakened Dynasty part, and underneath it said Starshatter the whole time.
Who knows? Who knows? Maybe he has standards. Professionals do have standards.
Walter, I'm interested to see what Walter says about it as well. Letters from Lynx with a super chat as well. Thank you so much. If you were in charge, how would you organize a quality insurance process for GW's rules design, pro gamers, in-house, public betas? Well,
I'm an alpha, so I'd never do a public beta. Obviously, jot that down first off. I don't know. I think that you can do QA a bunch, and I do think... I don't think this happened because if you look at people... I think the people who are looking at this detachment are good now. I think the people they have now looking at them are good at 40K. And I think they're trying to make
It's not us, by the way.
It's not us.
We do not do that.
We do not do any of that.
People say it all the time.
I forgot it
never
needed to be said, but it does need to be said.
Yes.
We don't do this. And I think they want to make a good, fun detachment. I think the thing that happens, I don't have any insight into this, but it would make sense that what happens is you get an echo chamber, and the echo chamber is that this is fine because of X, Y, or Z, and it's okay. And you also have to make 30 of these detachments. And then you look at it and you go, yeah, I think it's fine. Jimmy also says it's fine over in whatever. And yeah, it seems pretty good, but all right, whatever. And you push it out, and then somebody who isn't in the echo chamber looks at it and goes, what is this? What have you done? That's why it's a living rule set, and they'll fix it.
Yeah, I think that's the most important step that they made, is that they are willing to very quickly errata FAQ update rules. And that has been the massive transformation, because things will slip through in all sorts of games, all across video games, tabletop games, doesn't matter. But the willingness to fix it very quickly, that's the important part.
Yeah. And
I have no doubt that they will.
Yeah, I have no doubt they will. I came from the bad old days where if you got a release that has an obvious typo in it that screws you over, it'll just sit there for 4 years, unfixed. Yep. Back in 5th, 6th edition, man, if you got a codex that was broken beyond belief, sorry, that just is the meta for the next 3 years. That just is what it is. Sorry.
They've come a long way.
They have come a long way.
Giacomo S., thank you so much for your super chat. Will you show us a full vehicles list, Mr. Siegler? In fact, in the war room right now, there is a list. It is not full vehicles, obviously, because I would like to have some amount of things like hex marks and whatnot floating around, but it is mostly vehicles. I also have Catan in the list.
Yep.
But I think you can absolutely run a full vehicles list if you want to. It will just come up against the problem of all the vehicles are priced enough where you start not really having too much mission play around it.
And we're planning to have a game with it next week. We need to find an opponent for it, but We're planning to put this on the table.
Nobody has raised their hand just yet, but we will find one.
Yeah. It's weird.
All right. And then we have Redrum with another €5 super chat. Thank you so much, Redrum. I just dislike the difference in power of those Xmas detachments. 10th had a good balance. This just comes out of nowhere. Worries me about my armies. Once again, there are plenty of ways to play against this, I think. And with a couple small but immediate tweaks, I think this will be just a good detachment that has plenty of counterplay.
I think they do need to tweak it, though.
Yep.
Yeah.
Ryan G with a $10 super chat. Thank you so much. Speaking of Gloctopus, what Spider-Man characters do you think both of you would be? Jack gives off Dr. Octopus vibes, while Siegs feels like a Harry Osborn. Thoughts?
You kidding? I think you're Dr. Octopus or Green Goblin.
Me?
Yeah.
I'm the Green Goblin?
Yeah. Head of Goblin Tech or whatever the hell.
Gobbo Core.
But you got a little Gobbo in you. No, I don't know. I'm not up on my Spider-Man lore, unfortunately.
Well, very clearly, nobody thinks we're Spider-Man.
No, of course not. No, that's Quentin probably.
Quentin Spider-Man?
I'm sure.
I don't know, but I'd be interested to see what chat says. Well, which Spider-Man characters are we, chat? I don't even know. So Dr. Octopus is one of the main villains.
He is.
Is Harry Osborn? Does he become a villain at some point?
Harry Osborn is.
He's the son.
Hobgoblin.
Hobgoblin. Okay.
I think
he eventually becomes a villain.
Yeah.
All right.
I think he's a bad boy.
I'll brush up on my Spider-Man lore. Thanks so much for the super chat. Gamer Geek Jason, $5 super chat. What about Ghost Arcs? Move through a wall, dump a bunch of OC2 Gloss Reapers on the objective. I have this exact conversation about if we want to do better on the mission play, we can use the flat 6 advance and or go through walls to get high OC units to make sure that a game doesn't fall out of reach. I think that's one of the ways to do it, certainly. Now, it's a very pricey way to do it. So you do end up running lower on things. So it's hard to justify dropping damage. It's so addicting. You're like, I just want all this stuff doing damage and help me do damage. But I do think that Ghost Arcs with Warriors are one of the ways to solve the issues with the detachment of attacking primary.
Yeah.
Michael Allen, $5 super chat. Siegs, what detachment would you like to see Dark Eldar get? And Jack, what would you like to see Grey Knights get?
That's right. I forgot you're the Dark Eldar guy.
Thank you so much. Yeah. So for Dark Eldar, they have a janky combat detachment, and then they have a pain tokens kind of all-comers type of detachment. What I would like to see personally is my favorite style in Drukhari is the Coven stuff. So I would at least like to see something even more focused on Covens, whatever they do uniquely for that. Now, I know that's, Dark Eldar can probably use another very good all-comers type of detachment to help them out, but Covens is what interests me the most, and I've always enjoyed those models more than the other Drukhari stuff. So that's what I would like. Yeah. I don't know what it would do, but it would have some sort of mix of durability and delivering pain to your opponent.
Witch Cult would also be pretty neat.
Yeah, I just don't like the Witch Cult models. I don't care about Witch Cult. So
I like the playstyle of Witch Cult, but the models are a bit BDSM for me.
The Helians.
They're a bit weird, for sure.
As long as it's not a Beast Pack detachment.
Oh.
God help us. You can't even find those models anymore.
And for Grey Knights, my favorite thing with Grey Knights was running like I forget what the detachment name was back in 9th edition, whatever the heck it was. But the one that let you stab people the hardest. I would like to see Grey Knights, stab people.
It was rapiers.
It was rapiers?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what it was. Yeah, because Sword Bearers was weirdly enough the shooting buffing one.
Yeah, that was the Dread Knight detachment.
Yeah, which I took one of those, and I think I took one of rapiers as well. And I want people to be scared of Nemesis weapons, and I want to stab them with them. I want to be faster at getting into combat, but worse at like teleporting and shooting. And I would like to stab people really hard.
What I would like to see personally for Grey Knights is an anti-demon detachment just for Nick.
Maybe ones that only apply, like in the vein of...
Just like anti-demon 2+.
The Null Maiden Task Force. Maybe we only have rules that work against battle-shocked demons. That'd be sick, right? Use an entire detachment on that. That would be tight.
I have no doubt. Then Azuma Kazuma, thank you so much for the $2 super chat. Auras are bad for Ironstorm, but okay for Necrons. Why? Generally, whenever they give an aura that's just insane, it should just be pick a unit, maybe 2. That's it. Like, it shouldn't be an aura.
Yeah, that aura is too good. It's very good. 9th edition.
It's too good. Like, to point it appropriately is just making something ludicrously expensive. It's just,
what do you think would be appropriate? 60 points?
I would 100% still take it at 60 points.
I know you would.
Most armies would.
Like 180 for that CCB, you take that.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah. So I don't know what you'd have to price it at where it's like, all right, now I don't take the rear once take once wound, but then it's just a useless enhancement.
You'd have to say that you'd have to restrict what you can put it on. Like, really, you just have to restrict what you can put it on and make it something that's expensive, and then make it expensive. And I don't know, man.
GamerGeek Jason, $2 super chat. Also, Canoptic Spiders benefit from these rules? Yes, they are. They are vehicles, and I honestly think a 2-man is not too bad in this detachment. The +1 to hit really helps them. Assault lets them be shooty, but they have both shooting and combat, and it's T7, 6 wounds each, and they have a feel no pain. They're pretty annoying to deal with. They really appreciate that -1 to wound strat. So I think there's some really interesting things you could do with other more niche vehicle units.
Yep. Gabriel Ruth, $2 super chat says Coven. At least y'all say obeisance right. Yeah, it's Covens. But it's.
I'm going to say it however I want.
You can say it however. It's WOG. Okay, it's WOG.
Waj.
Wag. My work's wag. Okay, they wag at you and then they sprint at you and then they hit you.
So that looks to be the last one there. So hopefully everybody enjoyed this breakdown. If you have been joining us, please do give us a like, subscribe to the channel, and tell your friends about us. All of that massively helps us grow the channel. In addition, leave a comment below letting us know what you think of this new Necron detachment, how you think you'll be playing against it, and how you're feeling about some of the other Grotmas detachments. We'd love to hear from that. In addition, if you want to see some additional videos related to Starshatter Arsenal or the other Grotmas detachments, including list videos and future games that are be coming out very soon, check out The Worm at theworm.vhx.tv. There's a 3-day free trial, but even better than that is a 50% off your first month discount code for a limited time right now. Use the coupon code GROTMAS2024 to sign up and join our community. So thank you so much, everybody, for joining us. Thank you for all the super chats. We really appreciate your support, and we will see you all very soon for more content. Games Workshop has said in their article at the bottom of the Necrons one that Death Watch Index is tomorrow, so come back to the channel tomorrow to check that one out. Thank you so much, everybody.
Death Watch is gone, but their demise was overstated.
Premature.
Yes.
We'll see y'all next time. So long for now.
Bye-bye.